If you're watching this, you probably already know Doom Eternal is a fantastic FPS game, focused on quick, violent, and difficult combat with a slew of powerful weapons. Frequently broken up by simple platforming puzzles. Historically a series focusing on ranged combat, Doom Eternal's marketing put a lot of emphasis on an incredible looking new weapon, the Doomslayer's Crucible sword. Of course, adding a powerful new melee weapon to the Doomslayer's arsenal greatly excited fans after it was teased and shown off in gameplay reveals before Doom Eternal's official release. Unfortunately, despite all its potential, the Crucible in the final game turns out to be one giant missed opportunity. Doom Eternal, just like Doom 2016, gives you small breathers amidst the fast-paced combat in the form of locked kill animations. These locked kill animations, as well as a couple of other attack methods, are used to restore the player's health and ammo, making them vital parts of the game's pickup economy. While the concept of being locked into these pre-baked kill animations just to keep your ammo and health up during otherwise speedy combat sounds unappealing on the surface, most of them are actually pulled off brilliantly here. The exciting visuals of these animations never really wear out their welcome, and they pause the onslaught of attacking demons, giving you a welcomed couple of seconds to think about your next move. Glory kills are performed when the player melees a demon that's put into a staggered state due to its low health. They have some gratuitously gory and stylish kill animations, and refill some of your health in return. The Chainsaw, a utility weapon limited to 3 ammo which can be refilled by fuel cans, locks you into similar gory kill animations. It rewards you with an absolute heap of ammo when you carve a demon in half. The rare Red Berserk power-up can be found in a few combat arenas throughout the game. Under the effects of this timed power-up, the Doomslayer can instantly tear almost any demon in half with his bare hands, giving the player the option to tactically pick off larger and more difficult demons. Finally, there's the Crucible, the legendary sword of the Doomslayer himself. Boasted as a seemingly massive new addition to Doom Eternal's combat, prominently featured in much of the game's promotional material and key art. Nearly halfway through the game, there's an entire level spent building up to the Doomslayer acquiring this weapon. The player traverses the level, retrieving the sword's parts and finally christening it in a pool of pure Argent energy, on the ravaged homeworld of the Doomslayer's warrior caste, the Night Sentinels. This level ends with a small arena full of powerful demons, intended as a tutorial for using the newly acquired Crucible. One problem with the Crucible is immediately apparent in this tutorial. The legendary sword every player looked so forward to using is yet another utility weapon with locked kill animations. However short they may be this time, the Crucible is limited to 3 uses, much like the Chainsaw. Unlike the Chainsaw, the sword can actually insta-kill any demon with only one of its 3 charges, regardless of the demon's size and class. Its uses can be recharged one at a time, by collecting floating sword pickups placed in designated areas on each level. The sword being yet another method of insta-killing enemies with no extra utility beyond taking out larger demons at a slightly lower cost, makes its existence incredibly redundant. The weapon was marketed in such a way that led players to believe that it would play a much more integral role in combat, while in reality the game could truly be completed without it and be missing nothing new. The only real argument for the sword existing is that story-wise, the Doomslayer needs it to kill the Icon of Sin. There are many directions developers could have taken with the Crucible's gameplay design. The obvious answer is that it could have introduced Doom's first real fleshed out melee combat option rather than being relegated to another less important insta-kill method. Offering a high-risk, high-reward style of gameplay, it could have allowed users to block, parry, and use Doom Eternal's new double dash mechanic to get in close for quick attacks. More realistically, if developers wanted it to be more limited, it could have been limited for use against mini-boss enemies such as the Marauder, a close-ranged melee-focused enemy whose current design actually frustrates many players. The Doomslayer going toe-to-toe with a fellow Night Sentinel in melee combat could have been a very compelling use for the Crucible. Even just a timed usage with a long cooldown when the sword is unsheathed, allowing you to slice through demons in freeform, would have been much more fun. Yes, these ideas are far from perfect, and would require a good bit of development to properly implement, but all of them sound better than what we ended up with. Ignoring the disappointment of the Crucible feeling like a slightly tweaked and often less useful chainsaw, the combat arena where the player first gets to use the weapon makes it feel like a passable addition at best. The arena is packed with sword energy refills, allowing the player to run around and recklessly slice apart every demon in sight. It's far from revolutionary, and this sword training section essentially feels like you've been given the Berserk power-up with alternate animations, due to the abundance of sword refills. The section is, on its own, fine enough, but leaves a bad taste in the player's mouth after all the build-up. This could all be more palatable if subsequent levels had more than a handful of sword refill pickups. This obviously introduces balance issues, which comes back to the issue of the Crucible being inessential. The Crucible never feels worth the trouble. It often disrupts the flow of combat when used, and refill pickups are so few and far in between that it suffers from extreme too good to use syndrome, making it really difficult for the player to implement into their normal playstyle. The player has way too much else to focus on to even consider the Crucible as an option in most scenarios. The Doomslayer's daunting arsenal doesn't leave much room for another weapon without a practical utility. A good player is constantly switching normal weapons and mods, using grenades and ice grenades for crowd control, flame belching for armor, glory killing for health, and chainsawing for ammo. The infrequent free kills offered by the Crucible don't have any place in the already hectic flow of combat, especially since kills performed with it give the player no notable amount of resources in most cases. The final nail in the Crucible's coffin is that in nearly every scenario where the player might consider using it due to an overwhelming abundance of powerful enemies, the BFG is simply better for the job. The BFG's ammo is more common than sword energy refills in my experience, and it kills not just one demon, but every demon unfortunate enough to be within 50 feet of it as it creeps across the battlefield. It's really hard not to look at the Crucible's implementation in Doom Eternal as one giant missed opportunity. The developers of this game did an incredible job making all of its weapons feel balanced and useful. Each weapon, weapon mod, and tool serves a unique purpose that is woven into the fabric of the game's design, which only makes the Crucible's flaws more apparent. The sword is mechanically unnecessary, and its comparatively tame kill animations hold it back from even having some small value as a tool for more gratuitous gore. Hopefully, the Crucible will get another chance to prove its worth to players with more robust and useful mechanics in future Doom games or Doom Eternal DLC. For now, though, it stands as a disappointing reminder of what could have been. Thanks so much for watching. Hope you liked it. Leave a like if you did, leave a dislike if you didn't, subscribe if you really liked it, and maybe check out some other videos.